Hi, welcome to episode 7 of Mazda Miata Theme. Time to change out your fuel filter? Got the original one like I do? This tutorial will help you take the old one out and get the new one in. Ready? Let's go. Remove the gas cap from the gas tank. It'll remove some of the pressure from the fuel system. Remove the undercover from the steering column. Start the car, let it get to idle, then look under your steering wheel for a particular yellow plug. It's this one right here. This yellow plug is the plug for the fuel pump. Pull it while the car's at idle, and the car will shut off, but the fuel pump will help depressurize the fuel system. That way when you're under the car, it'll be safer. Jack up the rear end of the Miata, following the instructions in your owner's manual. Time to get under the car. Go under the passenger side of the rear bumper and past the passenger side rear wheel. You'll see the fuel filter cover right there. This is it right here. This is the plastic cover that covers the fuel filter. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to partially remove the screws from the retainer clips on the plastic housing. Once you get the screws about halfway out, pull them out by hand. Then gently pull on the fuel filter cover. It'll pop these tabs right out, then you can remove them from the fuel filter cover. Inspect them and just make sure they're in good condition. If not, replace them. Once you remove all 5 of these, you can remove the fuel filter cover from the car, exposing the fuel filter. Use a 10mm socket and wrench to remove the bolt from the fuel filter clamp that holds it onto the car. Get a pair of pliers and use them to loosen these hose clamps on the fuel line hoses that attach to both ends of the fuel filter. We're starting here with the top one. Once you get the hose clamp removed, you can start pushing the fuel line back. Now the fuel system is essentially depressurized at this point. However, gravity still works. So once you push this line back, you will get fuel out of this line. And there it goes. That's why you want to have these rags handy to catch this fuel. But be quick, get something and plug that line. I happen to have a fat ink pen handy, so I stuck that in the line, and it did a reasonably good job of plugging it up. Next, use the pliers to move the hose clamp on the top line. Now, I tried removing this line by hand and with a screwdriver, and I fought. And I fought. And I fought. And I fought. And I fought some more. Until finally, it came loose. Be prepared that those lines may be seized to the filter. The good news is the installation process is much simpler than the removal process. Take the new fuel filter and connect both ends of the fuel filter to the hose lines that were originally in place. If you find any rotting or any damage on those fuel lines, replace them with 5/16" rubber hose fuel line. As you work the fuel line back onto the filter, you'll have to remove that ink pen at some point, which will let a little bit of fuel drip again. Just make sure to have some cloths handy to catch any excess fuel that might drip out. You may have noticed a little bit of gasoline dripping from that ink pen while it was inserted into the top fuel line. Be prepared for the possibility that anything you insert into that fuel line could potentially allow a little bit of gasoline leak, and be prepared to keep a clean cloth nearby to allow that excess gasoline to drip safely into it. Okay, once you've got the lines reinserted onto the fuel filter, use the pliers and reattach the hose clamps. It's funny that where I fought so much to get those old fuel lines off the filter and getting the old filter off the car, the reassembly process for all of this went quite quickly. In fact, it's actually shown in real time here in about 2 minutes and 33 seconds. I found that the clamp that held the fuel filter to the body had bent slightly, so I used a pair of vice grips to secure it in place, then took the 10mm socket and reinserted the bolt to secure the new fuel filter to the body. Okay, so the fuel filter is clamped in place, the lines are secured to the fuel filter, and the hose clamps are secured back in place. Everything underneath the car with the exception of the cover should be in great shape, but don't forget to get your socket off of the bolt. All right, let's plug back in the fuel filter plug underneath the steering wheel so that the fuel pump will work again. Reattach the plastic cover for the housing underneath the steering wheel. And don't forget to screw it into place. Now remember, we depressurized the fuel system for the purpose of replacing the fuel filter safely. So we're going to need to establish fuel pressure back in the system before the car will start. Bridge the F/P, the fuel pump terminal, to the ground terminal in the diagnostic connector underneath your hood. What this will do is it will allow the fuel pump to run without the engine running with the key in the on position in the ignition. Don't start the car, just leave the key in the on position for about 10 or 15 seconds. Should be enough time to reestablish pressure in the fuel system. Turn the key back to the off position and pull the diagnostic connector. Start the car, it should turn over right away, just like that. The system's repressurized and everything's working beautifully. Have a look under the car and make sure the fuel filter isn't looking. Check those ends where the hose connect to the ends of the filter carefully. Also, you can take a look on the ground and make sure everything's dry. If you see any wet gasoline spots there, you know you've got a leak. You need to check everything carefully. Once you're convinced you're leak-free, time to attach the cover. Put those 5 push pins and the 5 screws in place and retighten them with the Phillips head screwdriver. And don't forget to put the gas cap on the car. If you haven't replaced the fuel filter on your Miata in a while, or it's never been done, get to it right away. It's a quick and easy project and it will have an immediate impact on the quality of your Miata's maintenance. Thanks again for watching Mazda Miata Fan. As always, take care. Bye-bye.